Hey! Alright, let me get my ears in. Got a few things need to go through this morning. Alrighty. Make sure I got that plugged in. This technology is something else. Can y'all hear me? Is this good? Can you hear my voice? It's so weird putting this thing in your ears. I'll never get used to it. Good morning. Good morning, folks. Alright, so we're going to get into it this morning. First of all, I'd feel real stupid if my mouth was running and y'all couldn't hear me. Can y'all hear me? Hello? Hello? Is anybody out there? Can y'all hear me? Somebody throw a thumb up. Somebody say, yeah. I think I might just be standing here with my mouth running. Okay, good. You can hear me. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Buddha and Robin. All right, Kevin. Hey, how you doing this morning, brother? Okay. So, special times we're in, people. Special times. Nothing good to talk about today, unfortunately. Good morning, Sister Nikki. So I think everybody is aware of what's happened in Charlottesville, or what had happened in Charlottesville. Well, and that's probably not true. I'm sure we all know what we were being allowed to know, unless you know somebody that was there. So I always try to not say anything until everyone has had their chance to kind of post their videos, commentary, the people who were actually there, as opposed to the people who were like us, who were sitting back, quarterbacking, or just reviewing. So, but before I get into it, so 3 people died in this last event, and I think that in anything that we say, in regards to all of this, we need to make sure that we represent the sensitivity that we need to have when these things happen, because this is not going to be the last time. And so, my prayers and my sympathy goes out to the family of those who were hurt and lost in this last episode of We Just Can't Get Right. And in everything we do, I think we have to make sure that we're being human. We have to make sure that we are trying to make things better, because there are enough people who just want to be right, and that's why I don't chime in early, because when you already know what side you're on something, or you already know that you're gonna pick a side, then it's my belief that you shouldn't even be in the conversation. It's my belief that you should just be quiet and you should sit back, because you're not going to help anything. You're not going to bring about any solution. You're not going to help us to get out of anywhere. And there are certain situations that, to be honest with you, I won't speak on. I won't speak on because I know I have preconceived notions. I know I have ideologies. I know that I'm going to enter the conversation with bias. And so in those situations, I won't talk. Because I'm not going to offer anything that's really going to be used to upgrade our society, to bring about a better environment, and that's why I'm in this game. The only reason I give it that, I would be on an island somewhere right now, drinking Mai Tais and just taking in the sun and just not giving a damn about the ignorance happening in this country. Except for I'm a parent, and when you're a parent, you're not allowed to, you're not given those freedoms, and that's the original slavery, the slavery of love to your children, and we can't pass on this ignorant society to them. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and here we go. So what happened? Well, of course there was a riot, and we always go to these things, and we never. I don't think we spend enough time looking at like the root cause and prevention. And so chaos happened. There are tons of videos. My God, I mean, there's a horrible one with the Mustang, and I think most people, everybody's seen that, plowing into the crowd. And of course, conveniently, it was in the right place, and conveniently the windows were tinted so you can't see inside the window. The odd thing in the picture is it looks like it was hitting everybody. I saw people of all types being plowed by this car. So I don't even know what happened with that. Not even talk about that. My big question right off, I think you always got to ask the right questions. And so what is the right question when a disaster happens? Because that's what this is. Keep in mind, keep it in context though, that we make these disasters every couple of minutes in other countries all over the planet. We have the two most violent groups that run our country. So with a grain of salt, I kind of take all of this in context that everybody wants to yell and scream at the hate group because it's called a hate group, and they kill almost nobody. But nobody wants to yell and scream at the oil groups. We vote for them, and we cheer for them, we clap for them, we put their signs in our yard, and they kill people all day long. So the question you got to ask is, who knew? That was what I was thinking about yesterday. Who knew? Obviously the NSA, they know everything. They're watching this right now. How y'all doing? Hey, NSA, how y'all doing? How your mama doing? They're watching right now. They try to decide. I got their finger on the button. You gonna turn this idiot off or what? So if I go off, just that's. I try not to offend them either for the most part, but they know everything. Okay, from an IT perspective, there isn't anything you can do or say that they don't already know. Like I've said before, I had a professor who explained it to me. 20 years ago, they already had all the data. They were recording every phone call in America going back into the late 70s in a data center in Quantico, Virginia, that was almost a quarter of a mile long under the base. Everything's recorded. That's how they got Martin Luther King. That's how they helped the guys get Martin Luther King. So speaking from a term of reality, and this is 20 years ago, when you talk about a database today and collating that data and syncing all that data up in a database, your text, your phone, your email, your voice, they knew within 5 people of every damn person that was going to go to that rally. They already knew. They knew it was going to be violent. The mayor tried to cancel the permit, and the federal judge came back and said, no, you can't deny their right to free speech. So they knew. The journalist, their reports from the ground is, these are the same people, right? They're there. They said these are the same agitators that are at every damn protest. We know all of them. There's Boo Boo, there's Tink Tink, there's John. They're on camera talking about it. Some of them are paid protesters. And so here's what the question I'll pose is that, so if you knew who was going, you knew how many was going, and you knew it was going to be violent, why in the hell weren't you prepared? That's the critical question I think that everybody should be asking and everybody should be promoting out is, because one side's going to say, oh, well, I don't already like them, so, it's their fault. And the other side, I don't like them because it's already their fault. The first question I'm going to ask is, if you knew, because all of the agencies knew, right? Before Obama left office, he released all the data to all the agencies. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. And you're either telling me they either didn't tell the police or they told the police and the police did nothing. That's where the investigation has to start. The good thing is they are launching a lawsuit against the city of Charlottesville. Fantastic. That investigation can be pushed in the right directions if people give a damn. Everybody votes for the police state, and by everybody, I don't mean me. Nobody I vote for ever wins. It just, I don't know why this is. I got a brain in my head. I vote for adults, but I never can vote for a winner, and because I never vote for the two parties. That's why. But it's another topic. So we have this police state, this massive apparatus. They know everything. They know how many dirty drawers you got in your laundry right now, and they know that you wore some of them twice. But you're telling me that nobody knew that this was going to turn violent? I don't believe that. I don't live in a world where that makes any damn sense. I live in a world where there are things that they allow to happen because there is political gain. There is gain in taking certain rights away. And so the important question is, why did 3 people die? 3 people died because somebody somewhere is playing with your tax dollars. Somebody somewhere, all that data that you own, that you voted for the police state, all that data is out there to keep you safe. The other thing I'm going to guarantee is those 3 that died, they were not paid protesters. I guarantee you that. Here's the truth. The truth, Ruth. There were protesters who went to protest the monument coming down who loved black people. Couldn't give a damn about the crazy messages that others who showed up had. And they just wanted the statues to stay up for whatever reason, right? Like we talked about Southern pride before. It doesn't mean a hatred of anybody. It's just Southern pride. They have pride in taking gravy and putting gravy and cornbread together and eating these things. When I was a kid, they put the pig in the ground, the whole damn pig, and we ate the whole pig. So, there's pride even in the lingo and how you talk and the words and the crops that you grow. There's pride, there's Southern pride and all that. So I guarantee there are people who are just proud of the South, right? They just had that pride. Peaceful people who had no interest in any violence. And I guarantee you, the people who were protesting, we need to bring these monuments down. I guarantee you there were good people who showed up and said, you know what? It's wrong. Y'all shouldn't be protesting to keep this up. We voted. We want to take these things down. Peaceful. This is wrong. Y'all shouldn't be out here, protesting. This is already a done deal. And those were the groups of people who probably got hurt. I guarantee you. And then there are the agitators, right? They're the people, and in my understanding, from what I heard, they don't even live in Charlottesville. These are just people who showed up. So for those of y'all who got to go to work, I want to put that out there real quick, and I'll go through some of the details on what I'm hearing from both sides. Is that this was an orchestrated Charlotte's Web event, and I'm gonna call it Web because the web caught 3 people and took their lives, and it's a web in this game of Democrats and Republicans and whatever y'all got all these names for everybody: alt-right, alt-nationalism, right-left, up-down, ignorant, foolish, whatever you want to call it, conservative. All these ignorant groups fighting for votes. Let's just be perfectly honest and put it out there. It's all about votes, because all of these people on both sides are just speaking for the leadership, and all the leadership just want careers and book deals, and they want to make a lot of money. And so it's a Democrat-Republican fight. Let's just call it flat out what it is. And so that's the question you got to ask: who knew, and why didn't they do a damn thing? I was listening to the interview, and by the way, don't watch the news. Don't watch it. So in listening to the extreme this side, I didn't see too much from the extreme the other side, and then you watch the news. None of it's true. Like these people, well, that's not true. They do say some true stuff, but they're giving their own spin. They're giving their own perspective, and they're leaving out a lot of data. Don't watch the news. If you watch the news about Charlottesville, I guarantee you don't know a damn thing, really, what actually happened. So anyway, so they knew this was going to happen. So all the groups had time to prepare. And prepare they did, because reports on the ground is that this was organized and coordinated. The guy who put it together, and I think that's probably an important piece of data, it was Jason Kessler. I don't know who this guy is. Don't know him through paint. Never heard anything he said. If I did, I don't remember. So he calls himself a white nationalist, trying to be in the middle, trying not to take anything from anything. So, okay, it is what it is, whatever that is. And he made a statement, and I think in his statement, well, first of all, he didn't finish his interview because they chased him out of town. But in an interview he did on another station, he made a quote. Let me see if I can read it right. He said that, you know, they wanted to show up and have a peaceful protest, but he said others showed up, you know, others who were referring to the Nazis. So his statement was, you invite people out to an event, but you'll always be judged by the worst elements that show up. That's true. That's true. It makes perfectly good sense. My question for Jason would be, but did you invite the Nazis? That's what I would like to know. This ain't, by the way, this isn't gonna be good for anybody. So if you're looking to like, oh, you know, he's gonna be on, I'm not on anybody's side. First question I'd ask is, if you want to have a peaceful rally, while I think there might be some peaceful Nazis, I think you don't invite them. That's number one. So the question is, Jason, if you invited them, then, you know, I think that you have some accountability. It's not just the police or DHS or whoever else knew all this was going down. You got some accountability in this too, for the people that were lost. So they showed up, and he believes in preservation of the white race. So first of all, you know where I stand on that in terms of preservation of race. To me, it's an ignorant stance, whether it's on black side, Mexican side, white side, whatever side you want to put it, is ignorant, because genetically it's not how we work. We have 26,000 genes, and you're trying to tell me that you're trying to preserve something from 24 genes. So 24 genes are important, and you know me, and you're going to classify me from 24 genes. I think it's ignorant, but I don't tell people what to do, so that's what he believes, that's what you want to do. And his other stance was he wants to keep pre-1965 race percentages. So I guess pre-1965 there were so many of this people, so many of that people, and his group, they want to preserve that. Okay. It's not, you know, it's neither here nor there. Says he doesn't have animosity for any of the races, but he wants to preserve that. Okay, you know, listen, that's your right. Honestly, I don't care. Like, my thing in this is, again, people died. Why did they die? So they apparently showed up. They said at 8:30 or 8 o'clock the police were supposed to be there, and the police weren't there. That's odd. So you know that this is going to be a violent event. You know that hundreds of people are coming who don't like the paint on each other at all. And no police were there at the start of the rally. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. But he said the police finally got there, that they were late. Then he said that the police weren't escorting their speakers to the speaking area, I guess, and so they had to walk through crowds of mobs or mobs, and of course, you know, that's not going to go well. Wasn't really clear on when, like, the marching started, and there were some ranting happening, which is going to happen. So who said what to who first? To me, it doesn't really matter. Not to me. I don't care. Like, if you show up and you start yelling and screaming, calling me names out my name, I'm going to get upset, and I'm going to start calling you names outside of your name, right? Like, that's America. That's human nature. When you do that, and nobody backs down, it's going to continue to escalate. And of course, it's going to escalate to a point where somebody grabs a flag, and somebody had a blowtorch. What the hell? What wasn't a blowtorch? I think it might have been like the activator or something, like an aerosol can, fire, and he's like spray. Anyway, so, but this is how these things escalate. So I don't think it really matters who said what to who, but the important part were the police weren't there. And when this all started to happen, they were ordered to stand down. The police were ordered to stand down. So of course the conspiracy theorist side of me is like, what the hell? Like this is a false flag. Like you just set these people up to die. And the other side of me is like, well, the police weren't prepared. So, of course, you don't want to put the police into a dangerous situation. And mind you, the police might be innocent in this whole thing. They might be completely innocent. They might be being set up like everybody else is. And this is why I'm calling this Charlottesville Web, because this was all a setup. And so the police were ordered to stand down. And if we already know that everybody knew this was coming, then obviously they wanted people to get hurt. I'm just going to put it out there just like that. They wanted, whoever knew all of this, they wanted people to get hurt. And that's why 3 people are dead. And so they started yelling stuff back and forth. And of course, you said the worst thing you can to me, I'm going to say the worst thing I can to you. Then you say another worse thing to me, then I'm going to say that, that word and this word. And that means now we got to fight. And brawl took out. Brawl ensued. So the other thing he said is that the police didn't isolate the protesters. And I'm like, how does that make sense? So usually when you have these, and I've done my share of protesting, we had a lot of fun. The good thing though is we had good messages. We didn't have people protesting our protests. But what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to isolate the people who are protesting the protest, right? You keep them apart so they can't have any sort of violent interactions, and the police didn't do that apparently, or they didn't do it effectively. And so these are the reasons why they are planning on suing the city. One thing I am going to say out of this is that, so the groups that were involved, so there was the United Right, then there was Antifa, which is anti-fascist, the anti-fascist group, if I'm saying that right. And then there was Black Lives Matter. And so those were the main ones, to my understanding, that interacted. Going back to my stance, I don't give a damn about your politics. When people die, it's not about politics. When kids get hurt, it's not about politics. If there's a protest happening and you don't want to be involved in violence, then you better not go. That's, again, I've organized protests, I've gone to protests. Right now in America, this is not the time for protests. These are not protests, y'all. These are bar brawls. That's what they are. These people go looking for violence, but again, and those groups are amazing, awesome people, I think on all sides probably. But you got your antagonizers in those groups, and some are probably paid for. Like you think about, you go back and you look at the civil rights movement, and first of all, the FBI, those brothers are in every group. I don't care what group you start. If you start a fishing group, y'all fishing, and you just have something that they have slight interest in, they will have actors in your group, and I guarantee you they will know what's happening. They always have people in your group, and they can do anything they want once they have people in your group. But there always are people in your groups. And so right now, if you got kids who want to go and make their political voice heard, whatever it's a protest, you keep them at home. Because if you're paying attention and you see where this is going, it's going to a real bad place. It's not slowing down, and it's not going to get any lighter. Because everyone in these groups are highly passionate on both sides. And when they clash, this is what's going to happen. So it seems though, and you always got to wait for it. Like when this stuff happens and it seems really orchestrated, and you can see people pulling the strings and how all of this has happened. You got the innocent public and you got the agitators. There's always there's always a reason. And so now you can start to see the bubblings of it coming up. It was like with the police and the body cameras. So now they're talking about banning hate speech. So that was, to me, one of the main intents probably of allowing this to occur. I don't know that anybody orchestrated it, but it was definitely allowed to occur. Is they want to be able to dictate who gets to speak, perhaps, and what they have to say. I can't get behind that in any way. I understand it. Oh, do I understand it? But it's too dangerous of a slippery slope. When you start telling people what they can't and cannot say based on what is going on at that time, it's extremely dangerous, right? Because remember, above pulling all the strings, giving you your ideas, and all these little groups, big groups, are people who have nefarious plans in mind. They're power-hungry people who have money to make. They have to draw up these certain narratives and tactics, right? So I'm against that in every way. I don't have a solution, and I understand the reason though, because when you got people walking down streets and they're yelling hate type things, and you got little kids walking around, you got people walking around, something is going to happen. Something is always going to happen. So I don't know what the solution is for that, but banning any sort of free speech in America is the wrong way. I think that they interject that too, because that's like the drama sauce, right? Like you got the fire going, that's spraying the kerosene on the fire, because now you're not only pissed off that side, but now you're telling those groups that they can't even talk. That's not going to end anywhere but more violence, because it's supposed to. This is America. That's how it's going to go. So I wouldn't be any more for that than I would be for banning speech of conservatives. You look at the Bible, and I'm Christian. There's some things in there that are very hateful, so, but if you want to go and ban speaking certain things, I have problems with that. It's going the wrong way. Like, what we should be teaching is tolerance. We should be teaching patience. We should be teaching the next generation and kids to look the other way. Like, you know what? If somebody says something, you keep going. We have a country full of a lot of people who have mental challenges. And you walk past someone and they scream something out, you don't have to react. You can keep going. And it's not that we have people who are just crazy and people who are sane. There's a whole spectrum of different types of people. And so, yeah, some people were raised in certain ways and they got things in their brain that are doing some stuff. That survival, the warrior gene. They got this stuff happening. And yeah, they're going to be a little more violent. They're going to be a little more, have less fear. And they're going to, so like evolution and evolving socially is about just let people say what they got to say. Get on with your day. Or don't even listen. Keep going. It's like the internet. I don't understand when people are trolling your posts. Why are you engaging? Let it go. Why do you... I'll post something and somebody comes back with something that's just historically completely incorrect. Just they made the whole thing up, right? It fills their narrative. Half the time, I might post one more thing and then I just let it go. I'm done, because I have no interest in people believe what they want to believe because it makes them feel good about themselves, or it builds up their beliefs on the world, and they don't want their matrix of beliefs to collapse. And you're not going to change that. So we need to teach the next generation to let things just roll off your chin. Look, just walk away. Look the other way, walk away. So, coming back to it, city's going to be sued. 3 people died. Terminology, so we've got the whole terminology thing. And so, and this feeds right back with the whole look the other way thing, right? Like, if words don't hurt you, then you're less likely to be controlled, right? If I can say something and piss you off, it means you're weak. That's if I know how to piss you off, if I can use this vocal cord thing and let audible things come out of here, and I can make your body physically do something, it means I control you. It means you're weak. Why would we raise the next generation to be weak? So my perspective on this, and it's based on what's known at the time, is you had these groups who all came up, and they're all passionate, and they mean well, and they had good actors and bad actors, and a situation completely decayed. One, because there were powerful people who wanted it to decay, and they wanted something to happen, and two, because a lot of weak people can't just let things roll off their chin. I don't know how we get past that, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't have a solution. I know that I don't care. I know that you can call me all kind of names, and I'm not sure the connection in my brains. It just makes me think that, oh, really? I want to give you a hug. Like, I want to, like, really, like, all right, it was something, oh man, I don't even know how to tell the story without getting in trouble. Because I don't ever want to put anybody on blast. But I had an interaction with somebody, is the best way I can put it. And it was real bad. It was bad interaction. We were just not doing good at all. Bad interaction. And I was upset. That person was upset. My brother, actually, every now and then my brother, he'll say something wise. He's a crazy dude, man. He believes some wild stuff. Every now and then he'll say something wise. What did he say? He said, yeah, and I know that you're angry and you're hurting, but think about the other person and how they must feel, how hurt they got to be, because you have your composure, you're upset, but you're not acting like they are. The other person has to be hurting a lot worse than you. And I think that's what I think about sometimes when I hear people say these things is, and maybe that's where I think a lot of my empathy comes from. Some of y'all get upset and like, well, Ken, you can't be sympathetic. Yeah, I go by a couple different names. Y'all don't know my real name. Ha ha ha. So you NSA, you can't find me. Ha ha ha. No, that's a lie. So, but anyway, some people call me Ken, and and they'll say, well, you can't be sympathetic with these groups. These groups are dangerous. These groups are, and yeah, they are dangerous. And I agree with you, but oh my God, I'm being stalked by a mosquito. Hold on. This is look, hey. you sometimes you got to pause when the mosquitoes show up. That thing was right. You see that? How come y'all ain't telling me it was a mosquito? This is what's wrong with this country, man. Y'all don't care. There's a mosquito right there sucking blood out of me, and nobody, you could put right in the comments, you talking about people mama and stuff in the comments, you could put right in the comments that it's a mosquito on your anyway. Everybody upset, right? I'm not going to get upset, but there was a mosquito. Dang, broke my train of thought. All right. What does it come down to? What the heck was I even talking about? This is why mosquitoes, man. I lost my train of thought. This is getting talking about my brother, somebody, right? Okay, I'm back. So, in terms of like, I look at things from a scientific perspective, right? Like, there's what we want to think we know, and then there's just the truth and the facts. And the truth and the facts of this, based on epigenetics and genetically how all of this stuff is handed down, we know it's nature and nurture. It's a fact. We know that we can make a human being be anything we want them to be, if we give them the right rearing and they have the right genetics. So what I accept is that if I were raised, and I'm not sure that this is a town, some of y'all try to convince me, but racist town USA, let's say that's a town. And to be fair, racist other town USA, that exists too. But anyway, I'm raised in that town USA, and I'm raised to not like a certain group. I'm raised in extreme poverty, and I'm told that I'm extreme poverty because of those people, those others, right? Those others caused it. And everybody around me believe that, or most people believe that. I'm going to believe it too. I am. Now, when I grow up, I might, if if I have the right interactions and I have the right DNA, then based on neuroscience, yes, I can say I can get to a point where no, that doesn't make any sense because and it makes and that will happen. I think in a country where critical thought is a thing. Critical thought is not a thing in this country, so I empathize with everybody. I empathize with because I think if you have so much hurt in you that you have that amount of anger that you can take it out on a whole group of people, whether that be a white nationalist group, or that be the Antifa group, or that be people of darker skin, or people of lighter skin, or people of a certain religion, then my heart goes out to you because you have a lot of hurt and anger that you don't know how to deal with. And that doesn't make me want to get upset with you. I mean, you can do things to get me upset, but it doesn't make me want to get violent and grab your flag and spray whatever. So my analysis on all of this is just a few things, just to wrap up for anybody who came in late. One, ask the right questions. Stop falling into the BS. We need to know who knew. This is just like 9/11. Look at this as a 9/11. We need to know who knew and why the hell didn't they tell anybody? And why the hell didn't they prepare? Because we have 3 of our brothers and sisters that are dead now, and a lot of our brothers and sisters that are hurt because these agitators were allowed to set up this Charlottesville situation and get 3 people killed. And that's assuming nobody else dies. 2, we have to not, N-O-T, not, I'm going to say not go to these protests. Not. Yes, I am Mr. Protest. Don't go to the protests. Why? Because they're not protests. These are setups. These are webs to get you and other people hurt. And the people who are doing the setting up will never get hurt. There were reports about how orchestrated it all was, that there were lines of people who were in certain positions and places to make sure that they funneled certain people into certain areas so they would get hurt and problems would happen. And so in that investigation, you have to look at who was a part of all of this. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. So I got to be honest. I'm not going to put the name out there because I don't know the facts. But one of my heroes apparently was there. One of my guys that I look up to was there apparently. And his name was implicated in being a part of certain things. You can say really smart things, and I can love you to death, but I will always call everybody out on their dirt. There needs to be an investigation as to who did the orchestrating of the crowds so that there would be a violent interaction, or if it even happened, right? It's just a report from the ground, but that people were herded like cattle so that they would interface violently. That needs to be understood. To me, that's a criminal act. And as much as I love this person and the people around him, and I don't like to think that they're capable of anything like that, the truth is, if the shoe fits, there has to be an investigation. And the last point is teach your children strength, even if you're weak. Right? Even if you're weak. There's certain things I'm weak at. Certain things you say to me, I'll never tell you. I'll flip the heck out. You and I, we not gonna make it. One of us is just, But I don't tell you what those things are. The things that I really hold dear, I try to tuck them away somewhere you can't get to them. But you have to teach your kids to not respond to this. Right? If they're walking down the street, there's a protest or somebody yelling, whatever, and these things come out, go the other way. Walk the other way. Turn around. Leave. Don't be a part of it. If you're strong enough to, that's what you do. It takes a stronger man to walk away. It takes a stronger woman to walk away. It takes kids and toddlers, elementary school age, to yell and scream and fight back. So there might be a time that we need that energy, though. And this is to the people who are not the agitators, but this is to the people who got that passion but they're not trying to cause violence, but they got that passion. I'm gonna say, brothers and sisters, there might be a day we need that energy, but you can't display that energy until you really know who the enemy is. You can't display that energy until it's completely known that there's absolutely no peaceful way out of the problems we are in our country. What happened in Charlottesville was orchestrated, and the people who allowed it to happen, those are the enemy. The people you were yelling at, they're trapped in the same system designed to screw you and your family and them and their family and get y'all to interact in this way. And if you don't figure that out, then your kids, you better teach them how to do some things that you wouldn't in a world. These things can spin out of control very fast. World War I was started by a 20-year-old kid. If you don't know your history, you need to check your history. World War I was started by a 20-year-old kid. One baby started World War I. And you mean to tell me in a time like today, I'm gonna leave you at this. There's hate and there's well-meaning hate. It's all hate. Don't support hate in any way, form, or fashion. Don't get on the side of any hate group, well-meaning or not well-meaning. There's a way out of it, but it starts with empathy, really knowing what's going on, and sitting back in the cut and paying attention before you get involved in anything like this. So once again, my prayers do go out to the family. I try to interact with y'all in the discussion. Try to remember that there were babies involved in this. There were people who were hurt. There were people who were killed. Kind of watch your comments, and don't get caught in the trap. Don't get caught in the group. It was a setup.